Hello, hello, and welcome back, or welcome. I am book lover Lorna, and it's that time again. We need to discuss the books that I read last month. Now, last month was a fairly good reading month. As we all know, because I say it in every single video, my goal for the month is 8 books. Some months I haven't reached that, and I was getting a little bit behind, but I had a good reading month. I read 9 books. I wanted to try and fit in 10, so for September my goal is 10 books, because I was like, oh, just that extra one, and it's a nice round number, and you just feel very accomplished. You've reached double figures for the month, but I didn't have time. I ran out of time. So we finished on 9, which is still really good. 9 was a good reading month, so I'm back kind of like in the on-track area, which is just fantastic. But 9 was very good. There was a mixture of physical books and ebooks. Quite a lot of ebooks this month, actually, more than like a bigger percentage than I would usually read. So maybe that's why I managed to read 9. I don't know. I generally do read ebooks that little bit quicker. I don't know if that's because I kind of do them in a faster reading style, so like a little bit more skimming in areas, because you feel less guilty because you're not actually physically turning a page, or whether they were just easier reads. Who knows? I wouldn't say that I read any particular like small books last month, and even in September now I have picked like 300 to 400 page books for all of my books, so there's not particularly any skinny ones to make me read any faster. So who knows, maybe I've just got my reading groove back, or I'm just forcing myself to sit and read rather than do anything else when I do get 5 minutes to spare in the day. I don't know. So without further ado, the first book that I read in August was Not the Type by Camilla Furlow. Now, this one I really enjoyed. I gave it 5 stars. I picked it up, or bought it, because I really liked Camilla on Love Island. Yes, I'm the kind of person that watches Love Island, although this year was rubbish, and actually last year was rubbish, so maybe this was the only good year, not gonna lie to you. After that I've kind of petered off after about 2 weeks, so I start watching it and then abandon it. So maybe I'm not the kind of person who watches Love Island, who knows. But I really like Camilla Furlow, and I follow her on Instagram and everything. I'm just really interested in the stuff that she does. So I was like, I feel like her story would be quite good. So I picked this up, kind of expecting more, I don't know, exposure on her Love Island time. But I guess, I mean, she signed like contracts and stuff, probably not to give away all of the secrets. But it was more about her time before then, when she was part of this Halo group, which was basically like a demining group where you're in places where there's basically war-stricken countries, and you go in and take all the mines out, or try to take all the mines out, so that civilians don't get killed unnecessarily by, you know, mines exploding when they're just trying to work on their farm, that kind of thing. So that was very interesting. It was something that I've not really read about before, so I thought that was quite good. I love that like Camilla's been involved in those sorts of things, and I don't think there's usually I'm going to say young women. I'm 24, I'm a young woman. For people kind of my age, there aren't really, I wouldn't personally say that there are many relatable women who have done things like that. Quite a lot of the time now, there's a lot of people who, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is their kind of lifestyle and the way that they're earning money and stuff, but it's all kind of fashion-based, beauty-based. That's everything that people value now. Whereas like Camilla's life, don't get me wrong, she's absolutely beautiful, but at the same time she has used her brain more to try and benefit other people, which I think is a really amazing thing. I mean, you know, beauty and stuff benefits other people and makes people feel more confident, but war-stricken countries is kind of a different ballpark, and I just really admire Camilla. I think she's a really good role model for kind of people in this age group, and, you know, people younger than me as well, like teenagers, teenage girls, and this was just written really well. I think Camilla expresses herself very well, and there was no parts where this was really repetitive. Yeah, it was just a very nice, enjoyable read, very interesting, hence the 5 stars. Next in August I read The Lock-In by Phoebe Luckhurst. Now this one was a NetGalley arc. I think I read it just before it came out, so must have come out in August time. I've seen it in the shops now, so it's definitely out now. I gave this one 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I think it's the kind of book that, unless the writing style is awful, you can't really go wrong, not gonna lie. Essentially what happens is there's these friends who live in this, is it a student house? I don't know, it wasn't a student house. In this house together, they've got this awful landlord who is a right pain in the behind, and there's a leak in the kitchen. There's water everywhere. They all wake up, they're super duper hungover. One of them realises there's a leak in the kitchen, tries to wake up the others, and she's like, what do I do? I have no idea what to do. And they're like, oh, you need to turn the water off. So they can't figure out where to turn off the water. So they go into the loft room, because that's obviously where the water is going to be. Honestly, baffles me. Young people today just don't know anything. Don't include me in that bracket. I know things. And they go up into the loft trying to find the switch to turn off the water, and the door handle comes off in the loft. So they are then locked in the lock room. They are locked in the attic room, and the bathroom, no, not the bathroom, sorry, the kitchen downstairs is just flooding. I think there was one girl, her friend, these people that live in this house, and then this one guy who they've never really spoken to and is a bit strange. And then the second friend, her date from the night before. And I think it was her date, actually, that took the handle off. So they're locked in the attic, and essentially it's the story of what happens, obviously getting to that point, and then what happens while they're in the attic. Things come to light, etc, etc. I can't really say any more because it would kind of give away like a big chunk of the story, but I thought this had a really good twist in it. I quite enjoyed it. It was just easy reading, really. Next I read Away with the Penguins by Hazel Pryor. Now this one I bought as an ebook because I've been, what's the word? It's too early in the morning for my brain to work today. Accepted to read Call of the Penguins, which is the next book in the series. I think it is anyway, as an arc before it gets released. So I thought, well, I really need to read the first book, don't I? So I read Call of the Penguins and, no, sorry, Away with the Penguins. This is a new one. Away with the Penguins is the first one. This quite surprised me. I didn't really know what I was going in expecting, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I didn't really read the synopsis, not gonna lie, and I thought that it was going to be more about penguins. I mean, it was kind of about penguins, but it's about this lady. I cannot remember her name. Veronica. Yeah, that's not a very memorable name, to be fair. Veronica. It was about Veronica, this older lady. She gets invested in the penguins and she goes to visit them, essentially, at this scientist site, and they don't really want her there because it's kind of, you know, in the wilderness. There's nothing else there. They haven't got very good facilities. It's just like four scientists basically living there for years just to kind of research the penguins and everything and watch how they live. Wow, my brain is so awake this morning. And it was really nice. It was kind of sweet. It was more about Veronica and the changes that she goes through on her journey, and less about the penguins, but also a little bit about penguins. So that's cute because we all love penguins. Like, they're cute. We all love it when David Attenborough is like, here are the penguins, and we're like, oh, they're so cute. So, I mean, you can't go wrong really if it's got some penguins in it. And I would say there was definitely enough penguins to keep me satisfied in the book. So 4 stars from me. And I'm definitely going to be reading the next one in the series. Obviously, I've got the arc anyway, so I really have to read it. But I'm excited to read the second one. Book number 4 in August was The Horse Dancer by Jojo Moyes. This was, I think, the last, or one of the last, or it must be one of the last because I don't think I've read The Peacock Emporium. One of the last Jojo Moyes books that I hadn't read, and I kind of waited so long because the cover didn't look all that appealing. It's big, and I was just like, I don't know. So I left it ages, and now I kind of regret it because I really, really enjoyed this. I gave it 5 stars. It might have made its way into like one of my top favourite Jojo Moyes books, potentially. I need to do some rereading of her others, but I don't have time for that. I'm doing too much rereading and reading at the moment. Too many books to read. But this one here was about this gentleman called Henry, and it starts basically at the point many years ago when he was training in this like elite horse squad. It's like dressage, essentially, in France, and it was like the place to be. And he left for this woman, the love of his life, etc, etc. And it comes forward now in time to his life with his granddaughter, and then it's focusing on his granddaughter really, and he has been trying to teach her to defy gravity and do dressage and horse display as he did. And it's essentially about her life, and not her life, sorry, about kind of, well, her life now, not her long-term life. So something happens in her life and things change, and she ends up living with these 2 other people who are kind of not together, but they're being together for the purpose of, I think it's Sarah, her name, for Sarah to kind of have a place to stay. And it's what happens. It's kind of an intricate story. It's quite complex. There's a lot to it. You just kind of really want to know what's happening. It's a little bit of a suspense type book, but I really enjoyed it and I gave it 5 stars. Next is a book that I've wanted to read since it's been on my shelves, and I do have a special edition of it. This is Circus of Wonders by Elizabeth McNeil. Now, this is just a beautiful edition. This is the independent limited edition, independent bookshop limited edition signed book. And it is beautiful. Like, look at that spine. My face here is just not helping the situation. There is just so much shine. It's got little stars on it. It's beautiful. Oh, my bookmark is falling out. It's got gold writing on by there. Ah, it's just so nice. It's signed. Where's the signature? Just there. Now, Elizabeth McNeil wrote The Doll Factory. I've not actually read that, but I saw this and I was like, that's beautiful. I need it. I will read it. And do you know what? I have read it. Actually, I didn't buy this one. My partner bought this for me, so that was very nice of him. But this one here, I have finally read it and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. Now, at first, I wasn't 100% sure on the writing style. It seemed really, and this is true to the time that the story is set, very old-fashioned, and I was just like, this hurts my brain a little bit. Like, I had to really concentrate to kind of get used to it and get a grasp of it. But once I did, and I did kind of gel into the writing style, I really enjoyed it. So this book is about a woman called Nell who has birthmarks all over her skin, and she gets sold to the circus, and it's about her life when she's in the circus, the people that are there. It's set in the 19 or 1800s? 1800s, on a coastal village in southern England is where it starts. And then they go to London. Well, the circus goes to London. I would say that this is really about people who are different and how they would feel to be a spectacle because they don't look the same as other people. Say, for example, if that's your height, your weight, your strength, your skin, the colour of your hair. Not necessarily the colour of your hair, because unless you dye it, that's by choice. But that was just a random example. So I really enjoyed this. I liked seeing how you would feel to become that spectacle because there was quite a bit of focus on that. Obviously, the storyline of the circus is really kind of interesting as well because I think that it's quite, I mean, I wasn't there obviously, but I feel like it's written quite accurately to how the circuses were in the 1800s, and that's just kind of, I mean, it might not be very good fact, but I feel like it kind of enlightened you a little bit as to how things were, which is, you know, always a good thing to learn something new. So yeah, this was amazing and I've given it 5 stars. Now, the next book that I read in the month was Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. Now, this one I don't have a copy of. I'll pop it up on the screen there because I took it from the library. The first library book that I've had in at least 10 years. and this was my choice, and it was a good choice. Again, I gave it 5 stars. We're having quite a good, like, 4-star, 5-star month, I would say. August was a good, high-rated month. I had some books I enjoyed. Maybe that's why I read so many. I was kind of feeling the vibe of these books. So this one, I needed someone to, like, discuss it with. I was just, like, flabbergasted. Like, I loved it. I thought it was so well written and just shone a light on kind of abusive and controlling relationships for young people, because it's a YA book, and I just thought it was done so well to kind of shed light on, oh, you know, that might not be quite right. And I think that's so important for young people to read, like young adults to read, and then know for future, or, you know, it might even be at that time period in their life, which would be horrible, but, you know, oh, that's something that is a red flag, and, you know, I need to stay well clear of that, or if something like this is happening, I need to speak to someone, because else, you know, it's going to escalate. So I think this is a really, really important book, really important YA book, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was written very well and gave it 5 stars. The next book I read, I'm going to have to read the title because I'm not going to remember this to read it, and 2 seconds later read it out to you. So the next one was a graphic novel, which again I got from NetGalley. So it was September 11, 2001, The Day the World Changed Forever. The authors are, let me just make sure, Baptiste Bouthier, Heloise Chocois, and Dan Christensen. Sorry if I butchered any of those names. Now, this was really, really good. I am a sucker for a graphic novel, and I very easily hand out stars for a graphic novel because I just really enjoy them. They only take me like half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour maximum, depending on the size of them. I thought this was really interesting. My kind of age group know about 9/11, but don't kind of, obviously we were young at that point. I was 5 years old, so I have no memory of that event happening, and I think that it's kind of talked about, but we don't, I don't know, I guess we can't really relate to it as much because we don't have memory of it happening. And I think this book, or this graphic novel, was very good at kind of showing you in a little bit more detail and seeing kind of the emotion that is linked with it. It was very well done. The illustrations were very good. Yeah, so I just found it really informative as a person who has no memory of 9/11, and the people that were written in the story, obviously you got like invested in what happened to those specific people because it became more personal, I found. Overall, it was a very impressive read, and I obviously gave it 5 stars. Next was Felix Ever After by Kaysen Callender, which looks like this and looks like this. Look at that sprayed edge. It's beautiful. It's just got little flowers on it, and I absolutely love it. So this is a very, again, I would say a very important YA book about identity. It's about Felix Love, who is queer and transgender, and basically about the life that he's living and him kind of questioning identity, whether, you know, he fits into certain boxes, whether he doesn't, and obviously you don't need to fit in certain boxes, so it's kind of him discovering that for himself, and also kind of a little bit of teenage rivalry and such, kind of a little bit teenage drama that goes on in the book. That's kind of like a backward seat, even though that's kind of the main plot of the story. That's not where the important messages lie, but I guess that they need a plot for the story, and I guess that's how in some cases he learns a bit more about himself. So really enjoyed this, 5 stars, and definitely again recommend this as a YA read. The last book that I read in August was Tied Up with Love by Holly Martin. Now, I didn't know this one existed, so, you know, shout at me now. I missed a Holly Martin book. I saw this for free on Prime Reading, and I was like, a Holly Martin book and for free? What? So this one was, again, an ebook. It was very, very good. I gave it 5 stars. I've just given 5 stars to so many books this month. I've obviously just had a good reading month, picking good books, being in a good mood when I'm reading. We've got this sussed, honestly. So this one was about a woman called, I want to say, Izzy. Was her name Izzy? Yeah, it was Izzy. Izzy and Ethan. So Izzy is kidnapped by accident by this group of men, and they run this kind of kidnapping company, but it's in a sexual capacity, and it is arranged and pre-agreed, and it's not against the law, it's by people's wishes, essentially. And it's basically what happens from there. She kind of wangles herself into having a job because she doesn't have a job. She's like, I'm not going to go to the police because you kidnapped me by accident, but you're going to give me a job. And it's what happens from there. Obviously it's a romance because all of Holly Martin's books are a romance. So it's the romance that ensues from her and Ethan, who is kind of the owner, manager of this business. And it was very good. It wasn't repetitive at all. There are kind of a few twists and turns in there that I really enjoyed. It was very easy reading. Didn't take me very long at all. And it was just kind of outside of the box. Like, I've not read a book that had that kind of plot to it before. Like, there are a lot of romance books, so they're very, very overdone. But I thought that this one kind of, I don't know, was a little bit individual, and I liked that. So that got a big tick and a 5 stars from me. So those are the 9 books that I read in August. We've had a lot of 5 stars. How many 5 stars did we have altogether? Let's just have a little count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold on, so only one book I read I didn't give 5 stars to. Hey? What? I've done very well this month. I can't believe that. I didn't even realise until I just counted them. So this is probably my highest rated month. My biggest 5-star month, I would say. 100%. I don't think I've ever read so many 5-star books in a month. It's a shame that other one wasn't 5 stars. Damn it. So close, so close. So yeah, those are the books that I read in August. This video has been way longer than I was expecting because I've just rabbited on about the books, but now you all know all about them and know which 5-star reads, or what books I think are 5-star reads, that you should go and buy and read. So please tell me if you go and read any of these books, and I hope you thoroughly enjoy them. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you soon. Bye!